Greetings and welcome to Rubber Biscuit, the first of two special summer biscuits from Tanzania, East Africa. What are we doing here? You'll find out in just a moment. It took us 22 hours to get here. You'll be back in less than 30 seconds.
Where are we exactly? Well, cross the Atlantic Ocean, head into Europe, and take a big, wide right-hand turn and head south to the African continent. Just south of the equator, you'll find Tanzania, or Tanzania, as some locals call it. On the central coast, on the Indian Ocean, sits its largest city and commercial capital, Dar es Salaam.
Back on the biscuit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, with Bruins defenseman Andrew Ference and Steve Montador of the Florida Panthers, on a visit with the Right to Play charitable organization, which opened its doors to the world in 2001. Right to Play stresses self-determination, education, and self-esteem through sports. In this case, helping to encourage African children to help themselves.
And the kids in this country can use all the help they can get. Around 40 million people live in Tanzania, half of them surviving below the poverty line. AIDS-related illnesses kill tens of thousands of people a year, helping to lower average life expectancy to around 50. There are approximately 1 million AIDS orphans living in Tanzania. Meanwhile, malaria kills about 10,000 children a year. Poverty and lack of education are the antagonists.
Living in North America, we've got our little bubble, and it's nice and everything's great, and you can lose perspective on the reality of, you know, a huge portion of the world.
How you doing? What's your name?
Isaac.
Isaac, I'm Steve. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Right on.
You from?
I'm from Canada as well.
It just changes your perspective on everything, you know, and it's so easy to kind of lose that when you're, you know, in the middle of a hockey season, and, you know, you're worried about losing a game or something like that, and then you think about some of the other things that are going on in the world. It just helps you bring you back to level ground.
Right to Play believes it can fight poverty and disease by improving education, health, and self-esteem at the grassroots level. It's done via the simplest of formulas: organize and encourage the children to play.
All right, we're both coming in. That's okay. All right.
Right to Play's slogan is, look after yourself, look after one another. Or in Swahili,
Jitazame baada ya wewe na watizame wengine.
by partnering with other local and international humanitarian and service organizations, Right to Play builds its programs by training local administrators and coaches. These community coaches teach life skills via sports to street children, school children, and orphans. They also work in refugee camps filled with kids from Tanzania's war-ravaged neighbors. So why the heck are NHL hockey players, completely unknown in this country, visiting here as athlete ambassadors? One, to raise self-esteem. The kids know that important athletes from afar are visiting them to see how their program is going and to encourage success. Two, to increase awareness, support, and funding for the programs back in Canada and in the U.S. And three, to inspire the athletes themselves to become more involved and to get others involved.
So you need like 10 people.
Yeah.
Very excited, absolutely, but I came into it very green as well. I don't know what to expect at all. I mean, I understand we're going to be meeting a lot of kids and have an idea of, you know, what the itinerary is, but I don't have any idea what the impact's going to be on me and certainly the actual sites. Definitely want to keep the eyes open and enjoy it.
I've been here before, but I mean, it was a long time with my family, and so the shock of you know, the totally different cultures is not really there, but the opportunity to actually go into the communities and like really interact with people and see kind of the daily routine of what Right to Play does here is so pumped. Like it's going to be amazing, and it's honestly going to be like a really great growth experience for both me and Steve.
Mungu ibariki Tanzania.
Ference has been involved supporting Right to Play in Canada for about a year. Montador, Andrew's friend and former teammate in Calgary, jumped on board the program and the trip at the last moment after George Laraque of the Penguins had to cancel due to a summer training injury.
Tanzania tubariki watoto wa Tanzania. This is our national song.
Back on the biscuit in East Africa. Day one for the fellas started quickly. Just minutes after hopping off a connection from London, it was time for that first visit.
The kids that probably were the most impressive to me were the orphans in Dar es Salaam at the Dogo Dogo centers. You go in and you kind of get their bio, and they're orphaned by AIDS and running away from abusive families, and they're young kids with only their other orphans as family, and so if you kind of go in with that and guess what you're going to run into, you'd probably think kids falling on hard times, but what we ran into were sharp kids, perfect English, knew a lot about the West and about Canada and specifics, and they were studying during their vacation time and really doing everything they could to be as smart and learn as much, and it was amazing how committed they were to bettering themselves with any available resource that they had.
This is our ball. We make this to play in our seats in our school. So we need a good ball because this is bad. Like this, if you want you shoot, it can hold you. It can hold.
Another thing that's remarkable is the fact that a lot of them come from impoverished areas and very challenging circumstances, and yet they have hope in their eyes, and they're happy, and they're enjoying themselves with the things that they do. And their feet are so tough to be running on uneven grass mixed with dirt fields, kicking soccer balls, bumping into each other, and getting up with a scrape and just continuing on. I mean, they're tough.
Go Sox, go!
Go Sox, go! Go Sox, go!
Go Bruins.
Yeah.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins!
The Bruins?
Yeah.
Bruins is my team.
Go Bruins!
The Kigogo Dogo Dogo Center houses orphans and street children. Dogo Dogo means small, but these kids are grown up in terms of rugged life experience.
Each day and each visit that we had was unique for them, and maybe something to get excited for as it did us, but nonetheless, just to see people being resilient through tough times was great.
Another Dogo Dogo Center, partnered with Right to Play, sat well north of town, off the beaten track. The Bunju Dogo Dogo takes a more vocational approach for secondary-aged children. Vocational options include art and music. The song is about the effect of AIDS on Tanzania, children losing aunts, uncles, parents. Other tunes are about the country's neighbors fighting. While Tanzania is at peace, war rages around it.
Kuna mambo mengine ambao wananchi ukiwaambia kwa mdomo hawaelewi. Kwa hiyo tunapitia kwenye sanaa ili kuwapa ujumbe kamili.
Pius is saying that, this is the society. There are problems in the society. But when you tell them just orally like this, face to face, they don't understand and they don't take care. But when you use art, I think it will help them to know and to change.
And that's another thing that these schools do in such a great way, is that there's songs and dance that talk about being free and staying resilient through war and tough times.
While there's a message to the music, there's also a more practical application.
For their future, I've told them maybe if they can have their very little money in the bank for their future, because when they finish here, they're not going to be under dogo again. They'll be staying or living by using their own feet. So that's why they have to get all the things around them that they can develop their own lives.
The boys make and sell the drums they're using for about $9 US a piece. More on activist Andrew Ference when we come back. Welcome back to The Biscuit. In East Africa, Bruins defenseman Andrew Ference takes his hockey seriously.
Andrew Ference, huge hit backboards on Peter Nedved.
There are other things he takes even more seriously.
Two things I really care about in life, and that's kids and the world that they live in and that I live in. And I think that, you know, talking with my parents about it and my wife, and we're all kind of on the same page where, you know, obviously as hockey players, we're in a position to earn a lot of money and buy a lot of nice stuff and live in nice houses and do a lot of special things. But, you know, at the end of the day, when I'm an old man and sitting there, I think that the things that we're doing here, you know, the things that we can maybe, you know, help a kid's life or, you know, help the planet out and make it better for the next generations. I mean, I think those are the things that you'll be proud of, you know, when you're on your deathbed and thinking about your life. And really, I think if you break it down, it's all about priorities. You know, some people, you know, would probably disagree and think that the material stuff will make their lives complete. But this is my philosophy, and I really believe in it.
Hey. Fidelity to principle and hard work are part of Ference's mantra in all situations. On the ice, growing up physically meant facing adversity, which led to growing up mentally as well.
Good play by Andrew Ference.
When I first started, it was just about trying to, you know, prove people wrong and, you know, kind of run around and hit and, you know, get out of position a bit, you know, but just by wanting to make sure that people didn't think I was too small to play defense. Obviously, I think it's evolved into, you know, being a bit more of a puck-moving defenseman and still trying to keep that edge.
Now the bodies are flying.
Sacrifice now means putting the team first, a concept Ference accepts readily and one he saw in action, in mass, during Calgary's Cup final run in 2004. An overachieving team full of chemistry and work ethic.
Hockey's unbelievable. It's been the vehicle to, you know, so many things for me. I mean, doing stuff like this, having a voice and being able to make a bigger difference is because of hockey. So I mean, while I have you know interests that I deem more important than, you know, than hockey, and in the same token, I love playing it. I love being involved in everything that that hockey's about. So I have a contract for 3 more years, and I want to, you know, have a few more after that. So I mean, my contract takes me up to 10 years in the NHL, and that's pretty amazing. And if I can get anywhere close to 15, it'd be an absolute dream of mine.
A dream visit to what seems like another planet continues in a few moments. NHL'ers Andrew Ference and Steve Montador with right to play. Day 2 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania at the Simbagi Primary School with Bruins defenseman Andrew Ference and Florida Panthers defenseman Steve Montador, athlete ambassadors for Right to Play.
These are guys that, you know, they don't have a lot of time on their hands. They certainly work extremely hard during the year. And then to see them come over and give this kind of time to something like this when, you know, there's no five-star hotels that they're traveling around in. You know, it's go with the flow, and to do what they're doing and to see the inspiration they're providing to a lot of these kids is fantastic. And it tells a lot about hockey players that these guys are over here doing this, and they're, you know, the number of NHL guys involved with Right to Play is certainly growing.
Brender accompanied the players throughout the trip, which presented him an interesting parallel, having left his job as a columnist for the Hockey News to become the deputy director of Right to Play in Canada.
We need some music?
Yes, music, DJ.
Music and dance are a part of this culture like no other culture that I've ever, you know, been around. And it's nice because I can dance around these kids, and though I know I suck, it's okay, you know, because it's just having a good time and shaking your hips and just expressing yourself that way. Music and dance are just such a great expression of the culture here, and it's awesome to see 200 kids or 100 kids dancing in unison and singing in unison. It's just, it's quite remarkable.
Their culture is obviously filled with, you know, song and whatnot, but their, you know, their lives are filled with, you know, compared to North American kids, well, you know, a lot of hardships, and you would never, you know, ever guess that by their attitudes. I mean, they're full of smiles and the first ones to run out in the street and, you know, wave to the Mazunga and hold your hand. It's just very affectionate and happy and real. You know, there's no, you know, there's nothing pretentious about it.
It's as unique of a situation as I've ever been in, and it's hard to think that I'll ever forget this, and that's why, you know, I've been taking a lot of pictures and journaling just so I can try and digest it all, because it's been overload of so many great situations and certainly tough situations where you just feel so much compassion for these kids because they are so brave.
I have no idea who I'm chasing. As far as what it's done for all of us on this trip, you know, it's going to change your perspective, but it's going to be hard to see some kids back home, you know, complaining about stuff, or even myself complaining about certain things sometimes.
Nice, easy one. We're good.
What makes everything real? I mean, we've you know, read it on paper what they've done, and it's on a website, but until you actually see, you know, hundreds of kids out there at a big sporting event on a field where, you know, a junkyard used to exist. I mean, that's all Right to Play's work. You know, right from getting the field in shape to getting the kids mobilized and having an amazing time together. You know, you can't really describe it on paper or read about it and fully understand, you know, just how happy the kids were to be out there and how amazing it was to watch it. If I go home and try to explain to somebody what it's like, I won't be able to. You have to see it and you have to experience it to really understand the true power of kids just getting out and playing.
Jenny, Yoka, you, Jenny, yo, Jenny, you.
No Bill Buckner here.
When we come back, a trip to Africa's largest lake, Lake Victoria, and the man-eating crocs. Welcome back to Tanzania on Rubber Biscuit. There's AIDS, there's poverty, there's malaria, Not to make light of any of those, but there's a new peril on the scene here on Lake Victoria. It's people getting eaten by crocodiles. Even at the poshest hotel in Mwanza on the southern shore, 2 people were taken by crocs back during the first week of June. The culprit, the water hyacinth, introduced by the British early last century during colonial times. It grows like, well, a weed and arrives via rivers from neighboring countries. It floats across the lake, ends up against the shore, and creates havoc for fishermen, boat motors, and those maybe trying to do their laundry. According to a Canadian national newspaper, the Globe and Mail, in an article in June, at least 9 people have been croc victims on the Tanzanian side of the lake since New Year's. Fishermen we spoke to confirmed the croc's presence and danger. A local media official denied it. A decade ago, the hyacinth was eradicated with the help of little black humble weevils, which ate it and died. After a couple of drought years kept the weeds away, the rains came in 2006, bringing the hyacinth back. The weevil bugs are no longer being reproduced, and the problem grows. Confrontations with dangerous wild animals are a natural part of life all over Africa. Whether it's crocs, snakes, or hippopotamus, it's all part of the natural landscape.
It was the Discovery Channel come to life. I didn't know what to expect. I knew we were going on a game drive, but I didn't know that we would have any chance of seeing anything. I thought it might have been just sort of an up-in-the-air thing, but when there was migrating wildebeests, and I heard 1.8 million traveling seasonally, and we were right in the middle of it. That was pretty amazing.
It's really here.
It's funny though. It's like you come to Africa and you see wild animals and thousands of wildebeest, and it's almost a whole hum experience. It'll be like the last thing I talk about when I go home, which is pretty crazy after all the things we've experienced and the kids that we've seen. Animals are kind of,
That's a wrap on the first of 2 special rubber biscuits. 2 special rubber biscuits, that's right. We're hopping a flight to Mugumu, where Steve and Andrew will meet the children of the Serengeti next week. So come on back, we'll see you then.
Andrew's gonna ride a zebra.